All right, so, are you guys in? Now, I think we can do a little better than that. I said, are you guys in? That's more like it. My name is Kristen Clark, and welcome to the first ever Halloween Horror Nights Tweet Up. Are you guys excited? All right, great. We're really excited to have you guys here, and we're really excited about Halloween Horror Nights 21. This year is going to be really cool. We have all new content that you're going to be able to experience. 8 haunted houses, 6 scare zones, 2 shows, and of course, Lady Luck herself. Now, before we get into everything, I just want to let you guys know about 2 quick things. First of all, when you're tweeting tonight, please make sure you use hashtag HHN. Just a friendly reminder, make sure you tag your tweets HHN. Secondly, make sure you stay seated through the entire presentation because we have some really cool opportunities just for you guys that you're not going to want to miss. I mean, these are things that we've never done before. You're not going to want to miss it, so please stay seated. Sound good? Yeah! Okay, great. So during the tweet up tonight, you're going to learn all of the gory details about this year's event, including Lady Luck herself. And here to tell you everything are some of the creators of Halloween Horror Nights, which I'm going to introduce to you right now. First up, we have J Mannarino, who is the director of art and design. He's been with Universal for 16 years and has worked on Halloween for 16 years. And his favorite Halloween Horror Nights was in 2004. Does anyone remember what was in 2004? That, exactly. We did the event in both Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure. That was the breaking point year. So, TJ, welcome to the stage. Round of applause for TJ, guys. All right, next up we have Rick Spencer, who is the creative manager of show development. He's been with Universal Orlando for 12 years and has worked on Halloween for 10. And his favorite Halloween Horror Nights is going to be next year's, which we're not going to tell you guys about tonight. So, welcome to the stage, Rick. And last but not least, we have Grommell, who is the scenic designer for our entertainment team. He's been with Universal for 12 years and has worked on Halloween for all 12 years. And his favorite Halloween Horror Nights was 2008. Does anyone remember the icon?
Scary.
Yeah, Bloody Mary, but please don't say that 3 times. So, there's Kim. Guys, they're all yours.
Well, thank you, Kristen. We wanted to say, first of all, thank you all for coming out this evening to the first ever Tweet Up. This is something that we're actually very excited about and quite unique. Typically, when we get asked to speak, do question and answer seminars, I usually have the first rule of thumb that tells everybody that you can't ask me about anything this year. Well, guess what? Tonight, that's not true. You can ask us all about this year, and tonight is all focused on the content, the characters, the designs, and some of the wonderful scare opportunities we're going to bring you this year down in Horror Nights. But to start, we wanted to just touch a little bit on the person who's bringing this for us on the 21st year. This year, Lady Luck comes to Universal Studios. She brings her twisted world of horror, mayhem, and death for people who make choices. And typically, when you ask Lady Luck to make a choice, you end up on the wrong side. For her, every choice is the wrong choice. And some of you have come in contact with some of the people who have previously made choices with Lady Luck. If you've been playing along online and getting along with our stories, we've given you the stories of the 8 haunted houses. They basically bring you in contact with 8 individuals that have been somehow accustomed and actually come in contact with Lady Luck over the many years. Our haunted houses take you from characters to environments to different types of time periods. I hear cell phones out there. That's a good thing, actually, for this presentation. Tweet away. But some of the characters that Lady Luck has come in contact with, and you're familiar with, are a wealthy landowner, a TV host by the name of H.R. Bloodguts, 2 college students, Louis and Bubba, and the in-between. Actually, they said Saul's and Steam takes you to a utopian society on the horizon. The Forsaken introduces you to the captain of the 4th ship. The Thing takes you to the Norwegian base in the Antarctic, and you meet the research assistant, Juliet. And of course, a young soldier, a British encampment at the Battle of Somme, you come in contact. And last but not least, a tormented writer by the name of Poe. This year, the haunted houses take you to really unbelievable stories. We pride ourselves in the level of detail, the characters we bring to life, and the stories that you come in contact with. On the 21st year, there definitely is no short supply of great stories. But instead of me telling you a little bit about Winter's Night, again, first time ever, you're gonna get sick of that tonight, no, I'm joking. We actually have a little video to show you what this house is gonna bring you this year. Takes you to the story of the Hawthorne Cemetery. On one given night, every year, the spirits come to life, walk the premises, and are bound by the chains that torment them. This is actually a traditional ghost house. For all of you who like supernatural poltergeists and the wonderful world of spirits, this house will be part of what you enjoy. H.R. Blood and Guts, our fun holiday horror house. You guys know most about this house already, so. If you've been online, if you've seen any of the wonderful world that our websites and us in turn keep involved in, this house has got already a lot of great play. So, and don't ask me about how. The In-Between. This is a haunted house that actually is a 3D maze. I'll let Kim talk a little bit about this house.
Yeah, the In-Between is one of our 3D houses. We haven't done one in a couple of years. We started working on this one in November, and I think this is the best 3D haunted house I've ever seen. There are some amazing pieces that will happen in this house. There are some scenes in this house that are just going to blow your mind. I'm not going to ruin it on you, but between the 3D with the effects, the lighting, the costuming, the story is there's a couple of college students who find a board game, and they're playing this board game, and something goes horribly wrong. It opens up a dimension, a portal into another world, and that's where you're going to find guys like this.
I honestly say, myself, Kim, Rick, the other designers of this event, have been doing Halloween for quite a few years. Had the opportunity of doing tons and tons of haunted house themes and designs. And 3D, surprisingly, people start to think that's old. We've done that. But the level of 3D that we're going to give you this year is never seen before. I honestly say, we did a review of this house about 2 nights ago, and all of us walked out with our jaws dropped saying, this is the best 3D we've ever seen. We use technology, we use lasers, we use all types of special effects to bring 3D actually to life.
There's one room in this house that I think will be one of those rooms that you talk about for years and years, like in Castle Vampire with the flying vampire. There's going to be a room in this house, and you'll know when you see it.
I've been working on the event now for 10 years, and without question this year, the level of detail is unbelievable. It's a notch above anything we've ever done before.
Saul's and Steam, another house, takes you to the world of utopian society called the Horizon. It's all done in steampunk, so if you're a fan of steampunk, this house brings it on. It actually takes you to a place that Saul's and Steam actually is the first time we've ever taken a scare zone story, which typically scare zones are mostly built around characters and maybe an environment. Well, we now give you the story that tells you about the place that this place was all birthed and built from. It's a place called the Horizon. It tells you of a place that everybody on their 30th year gives themselves up to the place they think is going to be forever the best place for them. Let me give you a little propaganda for the horizon.
Inside is your redemption. Walk this path, and your selfless act for the greater good will be rewarded with light and prosperity. Never again will you go hungry or know the feeling of thirst. All this and more will be handed to you in the horizon.
And what do you guys know about the horizon? Anybody? It's right, it's a lie.
We won this house last night. We were under, we did a review last night, so it was the first time with everything up and running, lights, audio, effects. Everybody's in their costumes, and first of all, it's probably the loudest house I've ever been in, but also the most effect heavy. There are so many effects, and all of them were working. We came out of that house just like laughing, giggling and laughing because we were so pleased with it.
The next place we want to take you is a place called The Forsaken, and I'll have Rick tell you about the story of this house.
Well, for those of you who've been following on online and playing the games that were devised to drive you crazy, you know this house is a tough one to get past, but at any rate, it's the story of Antonio Cabot, Captain Antonio Cabot, the fourth captain in a four-ship armada that left from Spain in 1492. Captain Abbott's mistake was allowing Isabella to let him choose between heads and tails, and what he chose was the wrong choice. For those of you who've been playing and keeping track of the games, you're all making the same wrong choice to continue the game, so get used to that. He was banished by Columbus and the other two captains and their crew. His name was never to be spoken, his image erased, and his crew to disappear as the Forsaken.
Some of the characters that you have here are actually ones from the houses. Over here on your right is a member of the crew, the Forsaken. Forever to live on the bottom of the ocean, cursed by Columbus and his crew. And over here, to your left, is actually one of the soldiers of our Spanish fort.
And the storyline here is there's a Spanish fort. It's been 100 years since Columbus, and now a hurricane has come through. You're going to be in the middle of a hurricane, and this hurricane dredges up the Forsaken's ship from the bottom of the ocean and smashes it into this fort. And now there are these guys fighting these guys as you walk through in the middle of a hurricane. And the set, I think it's movie quality set.
No question.
Next is The Thing, as we mentioned briefly. This is a haunted house based on the motion picture movie The Thing that's coming out this October. We've been given unbelievable precedent access to this film. Can talk a little bit about this.
Yeah, some of our design team in the spring went out to LA. They were able to see a lot of the prosthetics, the creatures, some of the sets, the props, and they were able to come back with just packets and packets of drawings, of set drawings, of prop drawings, and we used those to recreate some of the sets, some of the scenes that you're going to be going through. And then we had a tremendous prosthetics team build some of the creatures that you'll be seeing. And the other day, Mike Aiello, the writer for this house, and David Hughes were going through it, and they were making final adjustments. It was in the dark, there were strobe lights, and there's this one thing creature, this big, nasty, ugly thing. And I was in the house, and they didn't know I was there, and I heard them going through, so I snuck up behind this thing, and I took one of the tentacles, and as Mike Aiello came up to it, I went, and he screamed like a little girl and jumped and ran.
For those of you who've been playing the game, you've already seen one of the rooms in the house, and it was taken directly from the movie, and we imported it into the Blast That Thing game.
One of our other houses is called Nightingales. Actually, this house puts you in World War I. The main character that you come in contact with is a wonderful creation created 100% by us called Nightingales. If you look closely at the screen, you'll get a better look at them. Okay, little screamer for your online friends out there. This is a sketch actually that Kim had did. And him and David Hughes actually came up with this interesting character and a story of how they come to life.
Yeah, David Hughes came up with the concept, and then I'm a bit of a history buff. I did the World War II street zone a couple years ago, so I really jumped into this one. So you're going to be going through the trenches of the Battle of the Somme, and what happens is David came up with these creatures. There's one over there on your far right. They're nightingales, and in his mind, the storyline is they've been around forever, and they prey on the weak. So if there's an earthquake, some sort of any other kind of turmoil in the world, they show up, and they're shapeshifters. They look like normal, regular people. In this case, they're nurses, because it's a war. There are a lot of weak people, and they prey on the weak. When nobody's around, they change from nightingales to those things, and they prey on the wounded soldiers. Now they're in the middle of a battle, and you're going through the trenches. You're going to be down in the trenches. This is really cool. I had such a good time in this house. And you're going from trench to trench through tents. One thing, I'm not going to give it away, but when you walk into you know how we usually give you something big when you first walk in, a castle, a set, something to take your breath away when you walk into that first scene. These are all trenches. We're like, it's dirt and sandbags. What can we give them? Watch what you get.
And last but not least, our haunted house that takes you to the world of Poe.
Oh, poor Edgar. Sort of ran out of money and he washed out of West Point. Stuck in New York City, he has to make a decision. Should he buy a ticket and go north to Boston or south to Baltimore? Well, the lady that sold him the ticket sold him a ticket to Baltimore, and we never heard from him again. He was nevermore.
And for you guys, again, first opportunity to take a look at the inside of Nevermore. So that's a quick sneak peek inside some of our haunted houses. But we also didn't want to leave you without knowing more about our scare zones. Traditionally, haunted houses always get a little bit more focused, but this year, some of the things we're doing in the streets are by far unique, different, and never done before. This is a scare zone called 7. It represents the 7 evils that we have come to live with over our lives. In this scare zone, what makes this unique and different, this lives up in Hollywood, is that the characters actually change over the night. Most of the characters follow around the 7 sins. This is a character drawn for greed. This actually is the assistant character. The main character are all female casts. They're all done by color. And then over the night, when you actually enter the zone during the daylight, they're actually somewhat sensual, seductive, and somewhat of a spectacle. As they change, as the night goes to dark, they also transform. There's 3 separate stages for our characters, in costume and in makeup design. Right now you're looking at costumes, that's why you don't have any headshots on these things. Most of the makeup design is done separately. But here, Greed basically transforms. The jewelry around her, the gold that she wears, basically becomes her prison. It continually becomes bigger and larger and actually starts to suffocate her. She actually transforms over the night, becomes more blue in color, like she's being suffocated. What you also don't see on the headshot here is they all wear porcelain masks at the beginning of the evening. And as the night basically continues, they remove the mask to show you kind of a twisted side underneath. This is a scare zone, again, we've never done that changes overnight.
I want to see photo ops at all 7 stations, each and every one of them.
Grown Evil actually is a scare zone placed up by Central Park area in our event. It plays with the characters that come to life in a very twisted party. Some of these characters take the form of ravens and owls. Still walkers and ground characters come in contact with you. They all basically come to life out of the bushes, the vines, and lots of the landscaping. Canyon of Dark Souls. This is an area over by Animal Actors or International Food Bazaar. Another thing unique to us is typically we take the landscape and we expand upon it. We build architecture. Kim built a few years ago a whole drive-in theater. This year we actually created our own landscape. We built a canyon. We wanted to put you in a very tight, confining space. Typically the streets in Universal Studios don't have those types of locations, so we had to create it. We created wonderful totems that now become sentinels across this landscape. As you make your way through here, you're confined, you're twisted, and at the same time, you're completely surrounded by the Canyon of Dark Souls.
Those skulls are about 4 or 5 feet tall each, just the skull part.
Night Maze. This is somebody I know, if you guys have been following Facebook and what we've been able to sense, is the one you're most excited about, and so are we. This one is placed over by Shrek Alley. It actually is the first time we've ever created a transforming scare zone within the park. Typically we avoid those types of structures and those designs because the architecture of the scare zone is to keep flow, keep the people moving within the park. The actors pretty much work around basically fixed scenery. Here, the scenery moves. The actors, the performers are able to change the space while you're in it. When you enter it, it will not be the same when you leave it. We're excited about this scare zone. We think you guys are going to have a blast in it. And at the same time, we think it's probably something nobody's ever done before.
Want to give a hint? Best way to go through?
With your eyes closed. Acid Assault. This is placed on the streets of our back lot. We bring you in touch with acid rain that has basically tormented the city streets. And something unique here, we've actually done video projections before as part of our 360 show and part of a scare zone, or actually a show we did back in 2006, but we never placed them in a scare zone with you. Well, this year, that's all new. We're actually putting video on the Macy's facade, the Tribune, and the public library, and actually showing you how the acid rain has basically deteriorated these buildings over time. Here's a sneak peek of what that's going to look like. This is actually amazing. The technology that's available to us now that wasn't available even 2 or 3 years ago makes this all possible. When we project on the buildings, it actually makes the building pretty much disappear, and this video architecture takes over the space.
You're going to stand in the street and not believe your eyes. Those buildings absolutely fall apart.
And this is one of the characters that populates the streets. They've also lived in the world of acid rain for a little too long. Extreme makeover, I think. And last but not least, you will come in contact with Lady Luck. You will take your chances. You will take the chance to flip the coin, roll the dice, pick a card. This is actually placed in our Sting Alley scare zone, and you will see both sides of Lady Luck. Lady Luck is a unique character for us. Again, an icon like others, but not like others, because she has 2 worlds. She has the world that she tries to seduce you, she tries to entice you, she tries to make you take that chance. Make the choice. You're lucky. Come on. You think you can win. And the reality is, you never win, because you can never beat the house. And you come in contact with her more twisted, more monster, more demonic side.
How many of you have purchased tickets for Halloween Horror Nights? Ah, you've made your first choice. Very good.
Last but not least, before we get into some questions, we want to wrap up and say, all of you who've made your choices, who come here tonight to buy your ticket, to see you on one given night within October or September, basically, that's all in somebody's hands. It's all in Lady Luck's hands. And your fate is definitely going to be ruled by her.